Hello, and welcome to 954 Radio's News Roundup Show. I'm your host, Jaymie, joined by my co host here, Jason. Hello.
Hello, how's it going tonight?
Hello. 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 Sorry for being a few minutes late. Got caught up in some stuff, but we're here. A few things to talk about and whatnot. First thing first, as always, the injury report, and ignore my cat in the background. Go onto the bed. Thank you. Right. First, we're just gonna go through these little presser things that we have real quick, just so that we can make sense of these. Here's some stuff from Shanahan on injuries for the game.
Injuries for the game. Armstead will be out. Debo will be out. Juszczyk is out. Greenlaw is out. Veretta's questionable. Juwan Jennings is questionable. Injuries for the game. Armstead will be out. Debo will be out. Juszczyk is out. Greenlaw is out. Veretta's questionable. Juwan Jennings is questionable.
So those are officially mostly people who are out. I totally forgot about Juszczyk. He hurt his finger, right?
Yeah, it's like dislocated. I've seen it.
Okay. Ooh.
From what I understand, that's basically what it did to his finger. I've done the same. Well, it's obviously probably worse than the one I had because he actually had to have surgery with it. Mine, I just kind of popped it back in and I was good to go. But there's a picture of his finger and it's like, ooh, that looks like it hurts.
Oh, not fun.
Like he's holding the ball like with one hand and his fingers all like in a position it shouldn't be, and it was pretty gnarly.
Oh man, that sucks. All right, Armstead being out, I think is not a surprise. He's still dealing with his foot injury, his plantar fasciitis. So
he won't be back till after the break.
Yeah.
Bye week. That's what it's called.
The bye week. Greenlaw is out. Totally forgot what happened with Greenlaw. Did he get hurt last game or in practice?
I think he pulled his hamstring too, if I remember.
His hamstring too? Okay. And then they just activated Jason Verrett off the PUP list. So he is questionable. You can see how he feels. And then I totally forgot who the other guy was that was questionable.
Debo's out.
And Debo's out. I was going to go into Debo. Debo is officially out. He had a hamstring issue. I do have a clip for that. Let's play that real quick.
I mean, it's not a precaution. I mean, he's not good enough to go. Since the fact that he even had a chance means hopefully he'll be good with a week off and ready for the next game. I mean,
so no Debo versus the Rams this week, which will be a little bit sad. That's a very classic.
We're not going to have Father Sunday.
No, we're not. It's just a little bit of a bummer. Yeah, so I guess the hamstring makes sense though. And whatnot. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my screen just went weird. Like my whole other menu just like it disappeared.
Yeah, StreamYard's been acting weird the last couple of days.
No, like my browser, like the heck? That is strange. Hold on. I think my computer is being weird. Yeah, so Debo will be gone. Sorry about this, guys. I'm gonna be kind of messing with this to see if I get back.
Here's Juice's finger. Oh, why is it on that screen? It should not be that screen.
Hold on. I don't know what is happening. Okay, what's the second, guys? Sorry about this technical difficulties. Like literally, my Google Chrome just like disappeared. That's right. Huh. Like I literally can't find it.
Yeah, like I said, StreamYard has been acting really weird. I've had issues with it too all week.
Let's see that. Oh, there we go. There we go. I don't know.
Well, I took off the share. Well, I took off the I don't know. It was like when I shared it was when it started happening. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Let's see. Let's add this. There's just a speaker. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can
see that looks messed up. I'm not gonna lie.
The look on his face says "ow."
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, so there's that. Anything else? Then we have Shanahan on Jason Verrett.
Just that he's getting more and more confident. You know, the first week I think he was real excited to get out there because he'd rehab so hard. You get in a couple things and just moving full speed with all 22 guys out there, and you want to take a couple steps back because it's so much different than rehab. Last week took a step forward, got more reps, got to do it a couple more days, and I thought this was his best week. Just that he's getting more.
All right, so that makes sense why Shanahan activated him. Seems like he is progressing well. Don't know if he'll play on Sunday, but the fact that he's off the PUP list is definitely a good sign. What do you think? You think he'll play?
Well, I think they had to make a decision this week of whether to he was like kind of going to be done for the season or if he was getting close enough. But that means that he's taking up a roster spot, so it's kind of an iffy thing that's going around with Verrett. So to me, it means he's probably really close, but he's probably closer to, I would say, 80, 85%. He's just not quite at the point to where he can go full steam yet. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's good enough that they're pulling him off that, and so now he's going to be on the roster. So, you know, who do we lose?
Definitely some sort of good sign.
Yeah, it definitely means he's progressing.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Those are all the clips that we have from the presser. Not too many this time. I mean, all of it makes sense. We did have a lot of injuries last game. Last game was rough. We hung in there for a little bit for the first half. So it kind of spiraled. So, yeah. It sucks, but we only have one game. Then we get our bye week, which I think is desperately needed.
Oh yeah.
And stuff. So I'm glad that we're ending on the Rams because we play well against them. So I feel like we have a good shot. We do have a lot of injuries, so I'm not gonna say I'm overly confident, but I feel like it's not gonna be like last week. So like be a little bit more on even footing. So
yeah, I mean, they're still the Rams no matter what. They're a division opponent. Obviously, Kyle and McVay know each other very well. The offenses are pretty much mirrors of each other for the most part. And it's two people who know each other very intimately when, they've come up together, all that kind of stuff. They know what the other one's going to do. They're probably thinking the same, like, oh, Kyle's going to do this, and that's actually what he's going to do. So, I mean, they know each other, plus just a division opponent in general. It's not like it's not like there's a brand new head coach with a high turnover or anything like that. They're still the same old sorry-ass Rams.
Yeah, that is true. So we have this game. I believe it's an afternoon game. It's at like 1 or 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. 1:25.
I've never understood why 1:25. Just make it 1:30.
Because it is pretty much 1:30 anyway with all of like the pregame stuff. So it doesn't matter, but it is. I always just say 1:30 whenever I'm talking about it. But yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I think last week was very tough. I didn't watch it, but I listened to a lot of it, and I was pretty happy with the first half of the game that we were hanging in there. It was 13-14 for the majority of the first half. So I was like, okay, hanging in there. And then the second half kind of got out of control. So it's just I hope that there's something, regardless if we win or lose against the Rams this Sunday, I hope that we end on somewhat of a good note so we can go into the bye and just get healed up and all of that stuff, because injuries, as always, But yeah, the bye week is coming at a pretty good time though, so I think that's good.
Oh yeah, I think everybody's agreed that the bye week this week is probably one of the best buys we've had in years, because it's either not week 4 or week 18, kind of, you know what I mean? So it's not at the tail end of either, which we've been getting really unlucky with lately, or last like 5 or 6 years. We finally got a middle of the year bye week. No, last week was just, to me, it kind of solidified the fact that Shanahan needs an offensive coordinator. I think he needs to hand off that power to somebody else. Not that he wouldn't be involved, because you look at Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator, and Andy Reid's the head coach, and they kind of go back and forth with who calls the play. You know, so Harbaugh did it. I think with Harbaugh it was a little bit more, because there's like 5 people calling the plays or something. There's like there's somebody to call the pass plays, there was somebody to call the running plays, and then there was Greg Roman, and then there was something else, somebody who did red zone. It was really weird. Like there's like too much, but it's like I almost think Kyle's too smart. Like he's so confident in what he has, and once he gets off his scripted plays, I think that's where he struggles. As long if he could play the entire game on scripted plays, I think he'd be fine. But he has to start making adjustments, stuff like that. I think he just got out coached. You know.
Yeah.
It also didn't help. We dropped a lot of balls. You know, I'm not the biggest Jimmy fan per se, but there was a couple of those ones that should have been caught.
I definitely agree. I think Shanahan comes up with some really great plays, but I think he just needs a coordinator to help him, to assist him, and it could be somebody he trusts who will, like Kyle will have a good enough say, but it could be somebody who can, like offer suggestions or something that Kyle's not seeing, because Kyle gets too much in his head. Sometimes I feel like that's what some of the comments that Mike McDaniels made last season, when he was kind of the offensive coordinator, is he was able to get Kyle to do some plays that he probably wouldn't necessarily do. I feel like he made that comment a couple times. So just like, because I 100% agree. I think Kyle is too smart. He outsmarts himself, and he's just too stubborn sometimes with some of the plays, because he's so convinced that they're gonna work. And it's not on offense. It's not working. So he needs something.
But it's the same offense. When you look at it, it's been the same thing with Jimmy since 2019. This offense is no different than it has been. It's run the ball into the ground. Jimmy makes a couple of passes in tight windows. He's awesome at making 5 to 7 yard passes and letting the Yak brothers run. Excuse me. And then we wait on the defense to hold them. It's the exact same thing for the last 5 years.
And as awesome as our defense can be, it's not fair to put it all on the defense all the time.
But the defense was just absolutely crap this week.
Yeah, they were not. This was not their game this week at all.
Yep. I think Damien says it right there. It is not evolved. It is still the same shit over and over.
He would just benefit with somebody that he could talk about his offense with, who could help him even come up with new stuff, something. Like, he just needs to do something different. I feel like he's
say when Christian McCaffrey comes in and on 2.5 days notice plays like 22 snaps. That to me says a lot. That there's not, I don't want to say there's not a lot to this offense. Yeah, but most of the things that with Shanahan, it's the motion and moving places, and that is all genius. But when you narrow it down, it's only like maybe 20 plays. It's just putting people in mismatches, which, again, great idea. It's brilliant on his end. But can we do something a little bit different? Like I said, outside of the box. I'm tired of seeing, 3rd and long, go for a screen. Every time. I'm willing to put that we run screens on 3rd and long 75, 80% of the time. Money.
Probably not wrong. You're not wrong.
Best defense, touchdown scoring offense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, with the defense, though, we're just not getting any push up the middle anymore without Eric Armstead. There's too much of a drop off from him going down to everybody else now, to where it's gone back. I've said this since year one with Eric Armstead. He needs to be in the middle. If we had, left him and Buckner in the middle for years, they would have been an awesome duo. But we haven't. And you can see the drop off on them guys because now they're starting to focus even more onto Bosa. Yep, there you go.
And the other thing, he's not, because the whole point is to make sure that the other team doesn't know exactly what you're doing, because that's how, that's a big thing. So I don't know. It's just Kyle is very smart. He comes up with really good plays, and his guys do get open. But he just, I don't know. I just feel like he could use some help. It's not a knock on him. It's not a knock on him. He just needs help.
I mean, how many times in other businesses and stuff like that at work, I do dispatching. Or, I'm a dispatcher at work. Sometimes I will look at the board. Okay, this driver's here. They're going there. They got to drop off this here. Sometimes for the life of me, I cannot see it because I've been doing it for 5 or 6 hours. And it's just your brain is so fried and it's been busy all day. But then someone else will come in and be like, hey, can you take a look at this real quick? And within 5 minutes, bam, they've got it all figured out. And it's not that I was doing a bad job or anything like that. It's just sometimes you need a second pair of eyes to just look and be like, all right, this is not what you're seeing. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. Hell, fucking, how many other great offensive coaches have had OCs?
Yeah.
All of them. So it's just, he needs someone to take a look. And I'm not sure exactly what Brian Greasy is doing, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not sure what his role is, but I always see him when Jimmy and when before Trey got hurt, they were always with Brian Greasy on the sideline. Okay, what is Brian Greasy actually doing? Because if Kyle is going to call every play, should they not be talking with Kyle? Now, hey, Kyle, what are you seeing that I'm supposed to be doing? So I don't understand Greasy's role. Well, I remember McDaniels used to be up front with Kyle, and then he'd go back and forth all the time. We're not getting that with Greasy. So that's one thing I've been trying to keep an eye on as far as with that's going on. So that's cool. Is he just there to rub Jimmy's back, tell him he's okay?
I don't know. It's a good point. Yeah. Well.
Third and long. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
Third and long.
He needs to stop running screens on third and longs.
Dude, I'm talking about
working. Defense. Oh, yeah.
We had 2 3rd and 20-somethings, and it was at first down. They gained like 40 and 60 yards, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? At 2 points in the game, we were only down by 5. We could have made a comeback, and we just gave it up. And I know that a lot of people are saying now that Greasy had maybe. Yeah, but you're talking about Peyton Manning. I mean, how often are you actually going to tell Manning what to do? I mean, let's be honest. Manning thought on levels that are just incomprehensible compared to most quarterbacks. But with DeMeco Ryans, I know a lot of people are saying now he's not worthy of being a head coach next year. He had 1 bad game so far, for the most part. We ran into a buzzsaw. Kansas City has been hot. It's Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes makes gold out of shit all the time. We saw it. Again, this defense's Achilles has always been a mobile quarterback, even though he didn't actually have to move a whole lot for the most part. But we caught a good team who is just rolling right now at a bad time. I still think DeMeco Ryans is probably in the top 5 for head coaches next season. But I know a lot of people are already calling for his job and this and that. But he's fine. I mean, he doesn't have his top 2 defensive tackles. We're down at Aziz. Just injuries everywhere. So I'm not terribly worried about it. We'll see what happens after the bye. You know, because probably that's when we'll get Jason Verrett back and hopefully Armstead back healthy. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think they make us. He had one bad game, so I think we just need to. And everybody's gonna have a bad game. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's gonna have really, really good games all the freaking time.
I still think he ends up in Carolina.
You do?
Right now my money's on he goes to Carolina and takes Jimmy. That's my guess.
Oh, that makes sense, to be honest.
I mean, minus Jimmy all of a sudden throwing for 40 touchdowns and 5,000 yards kind of a thing. He's gone. They need a quarterback in Carolina. They should have done it this year, but they didn't because they had Sam Darnold. Plus, they made the trade for Baker, which was stupid. You could have almost had Jimmy for less, who's a much better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. And then, like I said, I could easily see him, DeMar, because they've got actually a halfway good defense. They beat the Patriots last weekend. They dominated the Patriots, actually. Okay. And so I can see him going there. Let's see. Do you see us making a trade? Jackson's third. Yeah, that's come up a lot. Whether or not we are going to make a trade or not. I don't get a trade unless it's a big, a high market player. Like, say Trent Williams goes down. Something like Nick Bosa goes down. That's the only way I see us making a trade, is partially because I still think we have the depth to absorb it. The other part is I think this organization is cocky enough to think that we can absorb almost everything because of how deep the roster is for the most part. So minus somebody, a big top tier talent getting injured and out for the season, like, for like if Jimmy got hurt per se, and then we got to go with Brock Purdy and whoever else, then we make a trade. Other than that, I don't really see who we trade for, mostly because it doesn't have a lot of capital. That said, we could get some capital back because a lot of teams right now are calling about Jeff Wilson, because we're going to have Elijah coming back soon. Obviously, we got McCaffrey. We still have TDP, and Mason. So there's been the rumor out there is that a ton of teams have called about Jeff Wilson. I think we might be able to get a third or fourth for Jeff Wilson, and I'm okay with that. And I like Jeff Wilson, but right now he's about one of the better players we have available for trades right now.
And a very deep position group. So
exactly, yeah. Between his value and the depth that we have at running back, he's the most likely candidate, unless someone wants to take a shot at TDP. But he's had maybe 10, 15 carries all season, if that.
Probably feel more comfortable just with Jeff Wilson's more tape and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the more known commodity between the two of them.
Yeah. Let's see.
Should we go to the Rams?
Yeah. Let's just go preview the Rams. Where do you want to start with that? Do they have any significant? I haven't looked, but do they have any significant injuries or anything that you've seen, or
not for the most part? Their biggest injury right now, I would say, is Cam Akers. I don't exactly know what's going on with Cam Akers. Like, when it comes to fantasy, I have Cam Akers, and I've been holding on to him for some reason, and obviously that's been a bad idea for me. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with him, but overall, the Rams are 3-3, second in the NFC West, because it's just a log jam in the middle. Their offense is ranked 26th in the league, and they're only scoring 17.3 games again, or 17.3 points a game. So, and you think of the Rams and their prolific offense, that is very low. Their defense is that, and then kind of like us, their defense is ranked 5th, only giving up 21 points. So, there's a 4-point difference right there. So that shows, where their strengths and everything are. Stafford's actually having a terrible year. He's only got 6 touchdowns to 8 picks, 1,500 yards, 84.6 QBR. So especially for the last couple of years, or excuse me, last year compared to this year, Stafford is not having the year. It also doesn't help that he's got, besides Kupp, he's got no one to throw to. He's got Kupp with 607 yards. The next highest person they have on there is pretty much a tie between Higbee, who's their tight end, and Allen Robinson. Neither of them have 300 yards of passing receiving for the year, and neither of them have a touchdown. So it's basically cover Cooper Kupp, and you've pretty much taken away the receiving game.
Interesting.
So as far as their rushing, you got Henderson, who is averaging 3.9, not terrible, but he's only got 181 yards for the season and 2 touchdowns. So they're not getting a whole lot of production. To be fair, they had a guy playing center last week who was a cop about 2 weeks ago. They kind of pulled him off the street to play. So their offensive line is even worse than ours. It's worse than our defensive line.
Okay.
But our defensive line is still better than their offensive line.
Okay.
Their D, they actually have studs at all 3 levels. They've got Aaron Donald. Obviously, we know him. Insert, Daniel Brunskill. He's taken care of. That's the joke. The linebacking core is led by Bobby Wagner. He's leading the team in tackles and sacks right now. Or excuse me, in tackles, not sacks. He's second in sacks. And then they have Jalen Ramsey in the backfield. So, I mean, they've got studs on both sides. Other than that, the betting line is that right now it is the Niners by 1.5 points, and the over-under is at 42. I will take the over-under for 42 points. Actually, I'll take the over, but I'm not sure. I think the Niners win by a field goal, which obviously takes out the 1.5. So,
yeah, I feel like it's going to be a close game. I feel like we'll probably win by a field goal or something like that. I was like, it's going to be.
I don't think he gets traded to Cleveland. They still have Kareem Hunt. Yeah, I know he's got issues and he wants out, but why would they get rid of him? And they still got Chubb, but he's definitely getting traded somewhere. I'm thinking Buffalo. Buffalo's in desperate need of a running back right now, and so I think he gets traded to Buffalo, or maybe even who else needs it? I can't think of anybody else with desperate need of a running back. Fantasy-wise, obviously Debo's out, so you can't start him. I would start Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is obviously going to be the number 1 threat, perhaps, depending on how many, what we do with McCaffrey. But I would definitely start both McCaffrey and Brandon. I would probably start Kittle as a second. And then as far as Jimmy goes, if you run a 2-quarterback league, I would run Jimmy as a number 2 quarterback. Like right now, I have to run him because in my fantasy league, I have Patrick Mahomes, Marcus Mariota, and Jimmy. Mahomes is on bye right now, so this week I'm running Mariota and Jimmy. Both of them are about 16 points, so I'm not getting much. This is almost a loss for me this week when I got those 2 starting. As far as if you start a defense, it's probably not a bad idea to start the Niners defense. With the way Stafford has been playing, good chance he throws a pick. They're probably not necessarily going to rush for a whole lot. So if you got the Niners defense, I'd start them.
Okay.
They're still 4th overall in the league. Even with that giving up 43 points and all them yards last week, they're still 4th in the league.
Yeah. I think this game was them kind of coming back to – because they were playing at such a high level. I think this is them coming back down to earth a little bit, maybe.
I think they had their seeing Jesus moment
I think
last
they're
week.
going to – yeah, I think they're still going to be really good, but I think, like, whenever a team plays at that high a level, it's very hard to sustain that level throughout the whole season. So – I still think they're going to be really, really good. I feel like them coming back down to earth a little bit. So,
I mean, even if they lose at 3-5 going into the bye week, there's still a good chance you can end up going, 12-5, something. I mean, you still have a good shot of getting, as long as you don't lose 3-4 games throughout the rest, you're still got a good shot, maybe winning the division. I think Seattle's going to come back to earth a little bit. I think the Cards will get a little bit better. Not quite sure about the Rams. Well, this game will determine a lot about that. And if you told me going into week 8 that the only game in the league between undefeated teams were going to be the Giants and the Seahawks, I'd call you a liar and I'd put money against it. That is the only game this week with 2 teams with winning records. That is nuts. Who saw that coming?
That is insane. That's crazy.
2 teams in complete turmoil over the offseason. The Giants. The Giants are leading the NFC East right now. Yeah. Look, there's a lot of talk, and I was one of them, that we should have traded Jimmy to somebody and picked up Daniel Jones as his backup. Daniel Jones is not playing too bad a ball right now. Daniel Jones is playing a lot like how we want Trey to play. And it's just like, maybe he just needed a little bit more help around. But the Giants did trade away Kadarius Toney today to the Chiefs for a 3rd pick, so maybe all they had. So, but yeah, interesting. Any given Sunday in the NFL.
Yep, that is true. Any given Sunday. Alrighty. Anything else you feel like we need to cover, or you think that's it? There wasn't as much news this week. No big trades happening. So
yeah, it was kind of a mellow week for the most part. I think some of these guys not playing, and then the ass whooping that we took, I think we don't need to beat on because me and TJ. Well, TJ did it on a Tuesday. I was stuck at work, but I think we should let go of that and move on. Move on,
for real. Yeah,
it was bad. I took a beating this week because now the Seahawks are in first place, and obviously I live in Seattle, and everybody, I just walked into work and I was like, "Go ahead, just give it to me." I know you guys are going to rag me all week long. Every day this week, every person in there is just giving me shit over and over and over. I'm just like, just come on.
Come on.
Just get it over with.
Oh, man. That's rough. Yeah. All right. Anything else, or you feel like we should wrap it up?
I think we've pretty much covered everything. What a final score. Go.
Final score prediction. 24-21? Something like that. I don't know.
All right. I'm going to say 27-17. Christian McCarthy gets 200 total yards.
Okay.
I think we're going to rely heavily on him this week. First full week, he's going to have more than like 15 plays, obviously. So I can see him getting easily over 200 yards or all-purpose yards this week.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we're going to get our money's worth out of him this week.
Probably. Alrighty. Well, that does it for our show today, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to follow us, we're on social medias. We're on Twitter at 905R. We are on Facebook and Instagram at 905 Radio. And if you follow any of those things, you can find us on all of our social media platforms. Follow us on any of those. If you want to keep up with us, keep up with our schedule. For Sunday, we're going to have TJ doing the pregame show. Jason's going to be doing our halftime show, and I'll be doing the postgame show. So, yeah.
Indeed. Same as always. Y'all know the routine. TJ, me, and then Jaymie to finish off the day.
Mm-hmm.
You've either got the best job or the worst job.
Me?
Yeah. Because either you're celebrating or it's a loss.
Or so crying.
You've either got to give the hug of celebration or the hug of depress at the end of the night.
Pretty much. How do you think they'll do with so many hurt? What they always do. We have good I mean, they'll figure it out. I feel I don't know. It's gonna suck a little bit, but we'll figure it out.
We need to figure it out. I think the biggest part to where injuries on both teams is going to be their offensive line versus our defensive line. The injuries on both sides of that, who is going to win that battle specifically, is I think a lot of it's going to come down to, because we're going to need to get pressure on Stafford. We need to hold Henderson. And can we not let Cooper Kupp run wild all game long like we did last time? Or do you play the game where you let Cooper Kupp get those 5 to 10 yards and you just shut down everything else? But yeah, I do think the main focus needs to be on our defensive line versus their offensive line and all the injuries that we have.
That makes sense. Yep. Alrighty. Alrighty, guys. Well, it's good to see you this week. We will see you guys on Sunday, and see you guys for that. And yeah, as always, go Niners.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. See everybody on Sunday.
Bye.